Welcome everybody to SFL episode 2 analysis with my man Lazarus. I still haven't thought of a name. I'm sorry. It's been a busy time. I'll get to it eventually, you know what I'm saying? But how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a pretty busy week. I realized just how much commentating I signed myself up for this week. So, it happens sometimes. Hopefully my voice will last for the rest of the week. Obviously got this and then wanted again tomorrow. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I got you. I believe in you, you know what I'm saying? It's just training. It's just training, you know what I'm saying? For the long hours. Like, exactly. I had to do, like, WNF shifts till 3 a.m., back in the day for, like, 8 hours. This is what you're doing. You're just putting yourself through the rigmarole. That's how we get better.
Look, when I go to work and then all my, like, colleagues are asking me why I'm not talking, like, I don't know how to explain it to them. So I just spent 5 hours last night talking. I got nothing left in me.
You're like, I'm sick of talking, all right? Let me do my work in peace.
They probably think I'm just super quiet and I hate them, but that's not it.
Right.
Just tired, bros.
So SFL episode 2 just happened yesterday. Of course, we saw some mean teams, as they all are, square off, right? I believe it started with, what was it? I believe it was Endemic versus Nasir, right? Again, two Titans. All the teams are so talented that I can't wait to see all of them square off. I believe we started with Reynolds versus Angry Bird here, right? JP versus Ken. Literally lore battle, both in-game and in the actual canon of Street Fighter 6. So just give me your general thoughts to hit me with this match.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of JP this week and a lot of Ken, but I think that's gonna be the same every week. Yeah. But in general, I think because last week we saw Angry Bird versus Mena, and I said last week, right, that Mena's kind of like the man that makes you wrong, and Angry Bird's the guy who's always right. So we didn't really get to see Angry Bird be right. But I mean, already, I think this first round pretty much sums up why this guy is just the best. And I like this right here specifically, that moment where he does the punish counter with the Fierce on the OD Amnesia. And like, you see a lot of people, when you've got a guaranteed punish, they'll then burn excessive drive gauge. But like, Angry Bird never does that, man. He's so optimal with his like punishes and stuff like that. He's always got that in mind.
So that's
the entire rounds.
That's something that I wrote down specifically because I want to test on, of course. And this is always something smart as Ken as well, right? To represent that drive rush, stand medium kick early, gives you that little extra boost of forward momentum at the end to get past the JP projectiles. But yeah, specifically what impressed me probably the most in the entire set is, as you said, this moment where he chooses to go with a driveless combo to get the punish counter here, right? And I think it's extra smart because against JP, he's obviously, one of the advantages he has is that OD projectile, or the projectile in general, right? Because Amnesia loses to projectiles while it beats strikes and throws. So he's leaving himself with 3 OD fireballs at the end of that, right? He has him in the corner, and the opponent is low on drive meter. So he's going to be able to bully with those OD fireballs, which is what he does here, right? He doesn't get too thirsty for it. He doesn't immediately go to it, but you see, once he ticks him down with that stand heavy kick, now below a bar, we're going to start seeing it once he gets kind of closer here. He gets the parry, and now, I mean, it's time to do it, right? Do the OD fireball, puts him on a pixel. I don't know if he timed it to be plus here. It looked a little strange to me. It looked a little like he already woken up.
You can time it to be plus. I think Vicious actually said on the commentary that it was like negative here. It probably was. I think it was like, a little bit too early on the start. But obviously, I mean, is Reynolds going to know that immediately? Like, no. And that's why, Angry Bird still gets to press here and get that burnout. Obviously, you're so scared. You're in that position. You're going to get burnt out. You want to press something, but you press something a bit too slow. And yeah, it was just so optimal. And like, again, it's something that I see a lot of people waste unnecessary drive gauge on punishes when it's like, yeah, you can do more damage, but it doesn't kill, so it doesn't matter. Like, drive gauge is that important that you don't need to get more damage,
And then he has, and look how much drive meter he has to continue the sequence, right? Like, he ends up going with a very safe string of like stand medium punch and a stand light kick. And I think from stand light kick, you don't get anything off of a drive rush. I don't think the jab is enough hit stun, or excuse me, like a quick enough startup to account for the hit stun of stand light kick.
Counter hit, I think.
Yeah, basically. You could do jab into drive rush jab, but I don't think it's off the light kick. I could be mistaken. But anyway, so he goes with that sequence, right? And then like the OD fireball here. After the sequence, he burns him out with the move before the OD Fireball. Now the OD Fireball is actually plus, right? And he has even more drive meter after that. So yeah, it really just set him up from that very first punish counter to completely control the round.
I mean, you just got to think about how, when you're playing the game, how does it feel, when you're in the corner, but your opponent only has like 2 bars of drive gauge? Like, you're not really that scared. Like, it is obviously a scary situation, but But once they got 6 bars, you're like, this pressure's never going to end.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing that I really liked from Angry Bird in this set was his light kick usage. Like, it was always just checking him in the neutral, ending block strings, interrupting block strings like that, right? I really love that interruption when he goes into the target combo swipe, just puts the stand light kick out. And what really, I think it's set up, one of the big moments it's set up, I should say, is in game 2, and it's the round 1 of game 2, where, let me see here.
Oh, that
was sick too. That was sick too.
I had this. Okay.
What I was gonna say was this right here. Was like he just puts light kick out constantly, right? Like, and oftentimes he's not putting anything behind it, maybe a fireball here and there, and then all of a sudden he just busts out. Check with the stand light kick in a drive impact, right? And like after seeing the stand light kick so many times with nothing to follow it, you just say, yes, that's where your brain's at. You're like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Sets himself up perfectly. Yep. He blocks the drive impact, but it doesn't matter. He uses it when he's close to the corner. I just thought that was a masterful like setup for like long-term setup.
Yeah, I think it's just smart. Like from Angry Birds, as a player that's not going to DI very often, especially when even though you're in the corner, and so to just bust that out, it's kind of like that X factor. Now you're thinking about it for the rest of the set, and that lets him like do more things like that. I've actually highlighted this as like that is just so optimal, and like I don't want to but big myself up, but I've been doing this like day one. Like when I played Ken, this was my thing. If you punish. It's only works on punish counter low forward, but if you punish a low move like a crouching move with low forward into the OD Dragon Lash, you get that crouching +4 hit confirm into the jab, and it's optimal. See a lot of people again. Technically, you could low forward drive rush. That'd be the easy thing to do, right? But if you hit confirm that they are crouching, you save a bar, and that bar comes in clutch at the end there, and he gets the drive rush again and finish the combo. So. Again, it's just him being so optimal, and I think this is what genuinely makes him like the best right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've heard Big Bird say it himself, right? Where he's like, he plays against other strong Kens, but he was like, if I was playing against Angry Bird, I'd be dead. Like, there's just things that he's always optimal. I really liked this as well, coming up here at 68 seconds. This jump on the stand heavy punch. Like, Angry Bird, I believe one of his videos against JP was all about countering that stand heavy punch range, whether it be with parry, just to not get your drive meter bullied. But he has incredible awareness of when JP's like to press that button, and you see just fully on display there.
Yeah, for sure. I think he is just so good at doing stuff like that. And yeah, he's just that's what you see when he's not playing against Menardi. It's that kind of level of control he has. And even though we saw Reynolds do extremely well last week, and he looked very impressive, like against the Evo champ, it almost didn't matter. He has so much matchup experience as well. He even says, I think in the interview after the games, he's like, "Oh, why are you why are you so good against JP? Like, unless they play like an absolute bot, like Akaru did in the Game of 8 Grand Finals. Why are you so good against JP?" And he's like, "Well, he's the best character, so I just spend the most time practicing against him." Yeah, it's just that easy. So you got to be at a really high level to be able to compete on that character against Angry Bird.
And he thinks about the nuances, right? Like he thinks about what you want to do at any given time, and he really has honed in on that stand heavy punch, because as great of a tool as it is a long duration button. So if you can manage to walk back out of it, get the whiff punishes going, and again, it started with him just trying to parry it constantly, and not even perfect parry it, right? He recognizes the long-term consequences of blocking that button a lot and how much damage it does to your drive gauge. And we've already seen his awareness for drive gauge with that first punish counter combo where he didn't use any meter on it, right? He understands how important that meter is. And I mean, that's another reason why he's at the top level right now, right? I think he's really honed in on drive meter, almost more than anybody else.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not out of the scope of anyone else, like ability to be able to do that, right? To be able to focus on the drive gauge element of that. It's just that's his play style, and I think it is actually the optimal way to play. I think everyone else is like overextending a bit too often. I think it might be in the next game or one of these games coming up. I'll highlight it because there is a moment where it's like if he was just a little bit more cautious, as you should be in this situation, like that will never happen. You don't lose the game from this position, and that's a game. That's like a kind of position where if you're angry, but if you're the Evo champ, of course, you never lose because of the way he plays. But if other people who do overextend and get over aggressive, like you can definitely suffer from not even a mistake. For some people, you could hardly call it a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just how the game plays out sometimes, right? It's like your decision just didn't work out. Like, you can call it a mistake, but then like so many things in fighting games are mistakes. Like your decision was just wrong, and it'd be like that sometimes. But the next
and there's
match,
a lot of guessing in this game for sure.
yeah, as are all fighting games like that. Right? It's kind of what they're built around for sure. So Chris CCH versus Big Bird was the next set, and I gotta say this is one of the cleanest sets I've ever seen Chris CCH play in Street Fighter 6. He's normally a very clean player, but this was exceptional.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, because I think, for me at least, it looked like Big Bird was doing all the right things in that matchup and had all the right ideas, and Chris CCH didn't look like he was adapting. And then right at the end, he gets it and he figures it out. But it was because of, even though he was losing all the like these micro interactions, it's because of his like, you know, macro games, you want to call it, like everything else was so much cleaner. Like the way he was playing was super solid, and his neutral game was just immaculate. Like that's what made the difference against the Big Bird here. And yeah, it's a very surprise win, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were favoring Big Bird going into this. I think everybody probably was, right? Obviously, Red Bull Kumite South Africa champion, and just in general, one of the players most in the spotlight for this game. And Chris really had his time in the spotlight the most towards the end of Street Fighter V, right? I think he's kind of dimmed back into the shadows for Street Fighter 6 for a little bit, just because of the nature of the beast right now, and he's not like entering these offline premieres, and he's, you know, he wasn't at Kumite, wasn't at Gamers Aid. He's been missing a lot of these really big events, but he has a great presence in the online scene. He's a very, very solid. He's one of my favorite Kens. And yeah, in this set, I just thought he was immaculate in terms of, like you said, a fundamental sound game. Like he just played like the quintessential ideal fighting game player, right? Like
I think he didn't have the perfect matchup knowledge, but he had like the perfect like game knowledge, if that makes sense. Like the game adaptations, like so basically when I look at all my notes, it's all kind of like, oh, why does Cruci say like he's just not reacting or he's not doing this, you know? But he still wins, so it doesn't make sense like why I've got all these negative points about like what's going on. But it's because, like I said, all the other things, like just again right there, like the shimmy, just guessing right on your offense is really important in this game, and taking advantage of that against Marissa is also very important. But yeah, he had some really good ideas as well, to be fair. I think we saw. But,
I'm just surprised that those are your notes, because I feel like his reactions were really good this set. Like, Like I mean, there was a couple of times where he just straight up DP'd the Superman punch. Like I thought he was playing really well.
That's when he got used to it. So that was a bit later on. But early on, like you could see Angry Bird was getting so many Superman punches, getting so much mileage out of it. Except the problem is he was dealing with the situation after Superman punch really well. So even though he couldn't deal with Superman punch itself, I think, for example, he keeps looking to whiff punish the Superman punch, and then you see Big Bird use the heavy one a lot. And at that point, the heavy one's really vulnerable to DI, but we never see a DI because, you know, maybe at this high level, you see a lot often players like don't really like to use that because obviously it's so risky.
Yeah.
So he might be in that trap where DI is just bad and you don't press it ever against Marissa, obviously, once. You know, because he gets so many good whiff punishes on the light Superman punch.
Yes. And
he's always looking for it, and that's where the heavy comes in. And that's when you can go for the DI. And obviously, he doesn't have that like knowledge, I don't think, to go ahead and do that.
Okay, I can see that.
But again, he's playing the situations afterwards really well. So he blocks it, plus he'll walk back, bait a button. The next time he won't walk back, he'll stand his ground and then check the approach. That's the kind of game that he was playing really well.
Yes, absolutely. So in the first round, that's what happened a lot of the time, right? Was like the Superman punch, and then the post game, he just got it right every time, whether it was the walk back and whiff punish or whatever. Here, this time he raw whiff punishes it, but I thought that he was dealing with that situation so well, the post Superman punch, that we see here in this round. I really like that gimmick too from Big Bird, like the forward medium punch into armor. That does come back to bite him at the end of the set, but I want to highlight that. I really like that little gimmick. But here, what I found impressive was like Big Bird starts going with crouch medium kick right after, right? Because he's like, bro, like the way Chris has been playing it post game, it's been so good that I just gotta go with something solid that I know is gonna reach him, so he doesn't win this situation, or he backdashes and then we're back to neutral, right? So he does that a couple of times. I think he does it again here momentarily, probably after this punish. But yeah, it definitely showed some respect being earned on Chris's side.
Yeah, and low forward's a great option because, like I said, he's lost it so many times that he's like, I just gotta like get something out of this. Yeah.
Oh,
even though low forward,
dude, I don't know. Do you think this was on purpose? Do you think this is like?
Let's see what it was. Oh, the Tatsu. Oh,
yeah. The wake up Tatsu to beat the drive rush bait.
I actually got no idea. I mean, it's light Tatsu is 5 frames. I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't, but. I I don't know.
Like, I'm trying to
Honestly.
think. Like, that's what I'm trying
I
to think.
don't
I'm
know
like,
what he's trying to press.
is this some tech he has where, like, after like a certain spacing, or like maybe it's a Mariza specific tech? I don't know. Considering, like you mentioned,
Oh, maybe.
like, 'cause considering, like you mentioned, he doesn't have the best like reactions to wood strength of Superman Punch is doing. I thought it would be interesting if he also had this specific tech against Muradiza. But like post knockdown from there, maybe he's labbed out a lot of the drive rush like buttons that you come
Yeah.
out with, and the Tatsu just happens to beat them, and then obviously it covers the distance when they drive rush bait with it. Like, I'm very interested if this is like some specific tech he's developed.
Yeah, I think you're actually probably hitting the nail on the head. I think that is actually like when obviously Marissa's love to do like drive rush fake there after the command grab. So maybe that's a specific thing that's going to punish counter any of the fake attempts.
Yeah, that's true.
Bit risky, hella risky, of course, but hey, you got to take those risks on defense in this game. I was not gonna lie, there were a lot of command grabs in this game, and not a single one was jumped.
Yeah, that is one of the notes I have as well. Lots of successful command grabs.
Yeah, and at one point, Big Bird's like, "All right, I'm just gonna keep command grabbing you if you're not gonna jump." And
Chris never does jump. Like, he never does
and I'm surprised he still wins. He still wins somehow. Oh, it's crazy. It's actually crazy.
I think it's partly part of it, I should say, is the power of these type of characters, right? Like these heavy hitting, high damaging characters. Like, you know, they only need so many opportunities, and it goes both ways for both of these characters. Like, their damage is so high that it's like, yeah, I can make a couple of wrong guesses. And I mean, in the long term, that's like what Chris kind of gambled on, right? He was like, bruh, I can eat some type of combo that does half my life from Ariza, or I eat this damaging command grab, and it hurts like here, but it could be a lot worse.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I think, well, obviously, Endemic here with the home side, so they had the counter pick advantage. So clearly, Chris UCH was like, hey, you know, I can take on that Big Bird guy, and clearly came in with some idea on the matchup, and you know, definitely executed it, played extremely well, I think, and decided to take it. I think to me the most impressive part of the set, if you manage to jump to, I think it's 46 minutes exactly. This is something that it's great to see. Like it's taken us however 4 months or whatever since the game's come out, nearly 5 months now, until people have gotten extremely good at doing this. That right there, the DI on and then buffering that level 1 when you're in burnout. A lot of people are still in that trap where, you know, it's such a simple thing, right? Because for us spectators, it's like, well, you know, that's super easy. Of course you like buffer level 1 there. But in game, like, it's taken this long for people to get used to doing that in burnout, and it's so important, as we see right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a very impressive part of the set. Like, just having that ready, it's something you need in burnout. It's one of your only defensive options. And this is what I talked about earlier, right? I like this gimmick from Big Bird, the forward medium punch into the armor stance, but it does cost him pretty big in this set here. He tries it, gets the punish counter throw, and that evens up the life a little bit and just gives Chris his opportunity of offense where he really rides it to the set victory.
Yep. Yeah, super good. Obviously, the forward meter punch from Marissa was actually completely busted, but I think so anyways. For this character to have that kind of move is terrifying. But yeah, like I said, tries to get him with the gimmick of that parry afterwards, you know, minus frames into reversal, and there is a great way to punish Marissa's, of course, with the throw. So yeah, it's really well played. Like I said, pretty much any post situation, he just got right every single time. And I think that's what really put it over the edge, because obviously he didn't jump the command grabs. He couldn't really deal with Superman Punch until the very end. So like, how did he win? Of course. But it was just, he was so good at everything else.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, right, that Marisa is one of those characters that really amplifies mistakes. Like, she thrives off that. Blocks one wake-up OD reversal, and 60% of your life is gone, right? So, Chris, I think he just played it, like, by the stats, like, by the numbers, you know what I mean? He was like, as many command grabs as I'm going to eat, like, he's going to have to keep doing them, because one combo will do as much as these 3 command grabs I'm going to eat, right? So, safer than sorry. Obviously, it gets to people. Marisa could still open you up. They still start to crack, or she just does commit to the command grab that often. But today, Chris managed to pull it out. And then the next match after that, do you have anything else to say on that? Just before we move on.
No, that pretty much rounds it out. You know, I think like it was a big win. Again, NASA being the team that I think not many people think anyone could beat, and it's still not beaten, right? But you know, they're clearly still dropping games, so it's possible, especially in first to 2, right?
And then the next match is a Samurai versus Punk, right? And man, this one was a beatdown, brother.
Oh my, yeah. Like, I'm sorry. It's
I don't have many notes on this one.
Talk to me.
You know what I'm saying? Like the notes the very last note I have is one of those sets where we are reminded of the greatness of Punk and how easy he can make it look. Like that is like my literal last note.
That's basically my notes, man. I mean, this is we sort of had this last week against Punk versus Xiaohai, and it was just a case of like, well, sorry Xiaohai, you're against Punk this week, like you will get very highlighted. Sorry Samurai, this week you're against Punk, and you ain't getting to play very much. You just get you're the clip farm right now. But I mean, the first one I've got should be coming out very shortly. When he does the safe jump. And he just does like a dive kick setup right here. Like that is again, I said this guy is like he's like creative, right? He's just like an artist, man. There's no need to do that. It's not any good. It's not going to open up anyone, but it's going to make you think now every time that situation comes up. And he's just so creative. Like that's what I love to watch about Punk.
100%. And again, another thing to think about is another thing that makes the opponent's mental go down, right? Like it's another thing you have to juggle, consider, start making you second guess. As many looks as you could show the opponent as possible, the better. And that's something that, I mean, Chris CCH tells Samurai at the end of the game one. He was like, bro, you got to show Punk a lot of looks. Like, because Punk is so good at catching on to habits, decision-making, that it's like... I think that's why Do has the success he does against Punk, not only because they play so often, but because Do, I think, is one of those players that is so hard to catch on to his decision-making. I think that's why he's more successful against Punk than most, even if Punk beats him more often than not. I'm not really sure about their current record, but Punk himself has said Do is hard to beat, right? I think that's why.
Yeah, for sure. I think this set was more of an opportunity to talk about, I guess, some generic Street Fighter things.
Yeah.
So I think if you jumped on 4920, this is just a clip. This is the weekly clip of Punk's immaculate footsies. Like we gotta get one of these in.
Yeah.
And you get to see the masterfulness here. I think it's when he jumps up on the cross up. Yep. And of course his movement baits in the fierce, steps just out of range, gets the whiff punish. Sheesh. But I do want to like slightly talk about like just whiff punishing in general, right? Because it is it's an interesting and very deep topic. But I guess for today, I just wanted to mention like, is he like reacting to the buttons, or do you think he is just like? So in my opinion, when you look at whiff punishes, it just means that he knows the spacing so well that if he just sees Luke move at all, he knows that the button will whiff, so he just has to press a button. Like he doesn't have to know if he's in range or whatever. He knows it's whiffing, and he's only reacting to any sort of movement. He doesn't care if it's the fierce, the low forward, anything. Everything will whiff at that range, and he sees that movement and instantly reacts. It's just, yeah.
I'm of the same mind. That's exactly how I think he's whiff punishing as well. Is that like he's like, I'm gonna get into this distance where if I see any animation that's not a walk, I'm pressing my button because you're whiffing the button, right? Like that's definitely how I feel about it as well. And yeah, I just want to highlight and let's put in 0.5 motion here. There's the beautiful the micro footsies from Punk here, right? The forward walk. My man Samurai is, you walked into stand heavy punch range. Oh no, you didn't. Oh, okay. Yeah. The perfect walk back, right? Like the timing on that is so crazy, man. Even at 0.5 speed, he's just like, it's so nuanced. Like, just that slight walk back right before the stand heavy punch. This man, I mean, his footsie's on another level for a reason.
I think he's easily the best at it right now, and playing Cammy is a great option for him because he gets to play like that. I don't even know if it's the best way to play Street Fighter 6, so I couldn't tell you that. But he's making it work. He's making his own style work, and he's just really good, man. I think the other point I wanted to talk about, unless you got something else.
Yeah, I got some points here as well. Not related exactly to footsies, kind of a little bit. I mean, I think having the dive kick is such a great option for that as well, right? I think that's another layer. I've talked about this since he's really main Cammy. I think giving somebody whose footsies are this good a dive kick is really unfair to the rest of the player base. You know, like he's just so good. Like you all have to constantly worry about his ground game, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, this is my chance, and like you pick a spot to press a button, and then all of a sudden he's in the air dive kicking you, and in this game you get a punish counter out of it, so she's like guaranteed a combo. Yeah, I mean it's messed up. And another reason I really think the dive kick is strong in this game is because we've seen plenty people trying to jump. Excuse me, not trying to jump. I got thrown off by the follow. Thanks for the follow, by the way. I forgot that I had that on. But when people jump forward, a lot of the time the person on the ground likes to walk forward and then punish the landing frames, right? We talked about that last week. Punishing landing frames is huge in this game, and dive kick counters that. If you just like freely walk forward on Cammy and then she dive kicks, like you're walking into her feet and you're getting hit. So it's just another layer where people can't. Yeah, they just can't autopilot walk forward at certain jump spaces against this character like they can almost everybody else.
That's why you see like these cross-up angles normally working out for Punk, where in other matchups like versus other players, other characters, you don't really get to see that.
Yeah, and one more thing I did have related to footsies, I forgot about it, is that, man, with Cammy, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Punk. I don't know if it's Cammy. I think it's a combination of the two, and the way he uses jab so effectively. But with button into stand heavy punch or crouch medium punch with Cammy, I feel like it hits 90% of the time. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, people try to take advantage after that first whip button. And one of these fast-ass, hard-hitting, long-range buttons just come out and destroys their attempts.
It's the classic. Also, that moment right there where he baits the bait attempt. Like, how? Like, this is like the first drive rush. We all know Punk's a god, like a chicken drive rush. He said it himself. Like, hey, all I did was I just failed 50 times until I got it. You know, more than 50 times probably. But like how does he know? How does he know? He just keeps walking back and then he just reacts. Like, it's just, how does he know, man?
It's one of those things that really separates the greats from the good players, is having that exact moment. You just, for whatever reason, you have the exact moment in time where your opponent's going to switch up the option, right? Like, you've been stuffing it and they keep doing it, right? But you just know exactly when for some reason. And he stuffed plenty of drive races up until this point. He's like, all right, this is the one where he does the suppressor. He tries to bait my stuff. And then look at that, bro. Oh,
Jesus. It's just not fair. Like, that's actually not fair. Like, even like Big Bird can't believe it there. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's like, bro,
even
really?
Punk's like, I don't know how it came to me. It came to me in a dream, I guess.
And then like, look at this. Like, he got Samurai. After that, Samurai's trying to drive impact dive kicks. You can just tell he's been gotten to at this point. And it's tough, man. I mean, this is what Punk does to people.
Yep, it's definitely. I'm excited to see if anyone can take this man down in the SFL. Honestly, it will be definitely very hard. I think you gotta pick either someone who Cammy struggles against, or you gotta out footsie him, which is extremely difficult. Or you can play Gal. Gal doesn't care about footsies,
True.
At least for the most part.
And you gotta, like, I think also take advantage of his big strengths, right? Which, like, he doesn't have many weaknesses. So you kind of have to try to play around his tendencies and strengths and try to get him in a spot where he thinks it's his usual position and make it not that usual position, right? I think, and you had to use his reactions against him as well. Like, I feel like a lot of whiff safe buttons to try to bait out these. Again, Cammy's buttons are so quick, it's tough to whiff Punisher in response. And he's also, in my opinion, the throw bait king. Like, I feel like he goes for shimmies more than anybody else. So it's a hard bet to make, but I think the wake up crouch medium kick, I've seen it work against him frequently before. I think that's something to do, but again, that's a gigantic risk. And like the way he kind of sets up his offense now, I feel like I've started to see him do that less and less, and he's kind of committing to the crouch fierce meaties more. It's tough, man, because I feel like as soon as he sees he's getting taken advantage of with that option, he just switches it up so quick. He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah. But sure. I think apparently if you just perfect parry him, he gets pretty frustrated. So maybe that's the answer.
That's true.
I mean, look,
that's a good point.
I think for me, like the only thing that Punk's missing from his game plan, and probably, I mean, it's not even like a thing that's necessarily guaranteed or it should be a good thing to do, but I think just using Hooligan on his offense. Hooligan is like such a creative tool, and there's definitely setups to make it real and extremely rewarding. And for a player like him who is creative, who can do very surprising things at any moment, having the Hooligan as an extra thing to worry about would be, I think, extremely strong. Like, he could definitely benefit a lot from that. Not that he necessarily needs it, like you say, he's a throwbait king apparently, but he's, I feel like just being able to mix that in at the last moment is something that, again, Cammy players can definitely abuse, and I think Punk is probably the most to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. We've seen Hooligans a little bit more than at launch from him. Like, I've seen him use it for setups very rarely now. He wasn't using it at all, it felt like, the first 2 months of the game. But yeah, man, I feel like that time will come, because as you said, he's just so confident and so good at the things he's good at that he's like, I don't need hooligan, right? I'm so successful.
I watched this guy play Strive for like 2 years and not learn a single soul bad guy combo and still win. So you know what? He doesn't need to know anything. He just needs to play his game, and that's good enough, apparently.
And I do think, honestly, at some of these big tournaments, I think he might pull out a shenanigan or two. One that's as little.
Saving it for nationals.
Yeah, I think he's saving it for nationals, and one that's gonna have as little risk as possible. I don't think we're gonna see him do it in some crazy instance. But when he has a lead, he's feeling himself. He'll have a chance to close it out, catching the opponent off guard. I feel like we'll see a hooligan in the future here. But you mentioned his creativity, and I mean, look at the way he ends this game, right? The drive rush with crouch jab into the drive impact, like, bruh.
Look. We're saying hooligan ain't safe. What is this? What is this? I mean, 100% that jab was meant to hit, but you know what? It worked out. So we take those.
Sure. Either way, I like it from Punk. He's doing his damn thing as per usual. 30 points for Nasser as they get another big dub, as you mentioned. They haven't been unscathed in either of their sets, but they have come out the majority victors, as I think we've been expecting. But the next set was a Bandits and Red Rooster. I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. Oops.
Yeah, for sure. I think Red Roosters was definitely like the team I was looking forward to watching the most because they surprised me the most from the first week. So I wanted to see if maybe that was a bit of a fluke or if they could come back and, you know, Ajax and PR Balrog could show up again in a big way and sort of prove themselves on the juries, I guess, because we haven't seen them that much. Because they looked extremely strong last week. But against Xiaohai, unfortunately, I feel like Ajax did struggle a little bit. I feel like he couldn't play his style that well. And it's just Xiaohai's knowledge in the matchup was really overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, Ajax, it was funny because I feel like up against Xian, which was last week, he had so many successful drive rush jab parries, right? Like a lot of perfect parries against the drive rush jab of Xian, and it felt like this set he just couldn't get it going.
Couldn't.
Like
even those projectiles, he's obviously trying a perfect parry, but I don't see he got a single perfect parry in a projectile. It was, you know, a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, like I don't know what it was. He just didn't have the perfect parry juice in this set. But all of the drive rush jabs from Xiaohai, they never got perfect parried. He was always able to start offense from them, and he often called out the parry with just drive rush throw after establishing the jab, right? Which obviously is 20% damage to your drive meter. It's huge, and I just think he overwhelmed Ajax. Like, he constantly forced offense, and because the reactions to the drive rushes weren't working out with the perfect parry, and then he makes a couple of defensive choices that don't work out as well, it was just rough. It was a rough set.
Yeah. I think obviously Xiaohai plays Jury as well, right? So definitely knows a lot about his character, specifically the fun play stuff. And that moment I actually pointed out as a really big thing. So it's all right. That's a safe jump setup, and I don't think I'm a fan of these safe jump mind games. Like, I get that you can perfect parry a safe jump and get +2.
Yeah,
but it's still safe. It's still a safe jump. Like, and they still have to time the perfect parry, right? It's not too hard. And I get you want to get that punish counter throw, which is why he got hit by the wake up jab. But I feel like I see no one actually do the safe jump anymore. So it's not obvious. Like, it's not a mix up anymore because people always do the empty land into their throw. So just do the jump. Even if you get perfect parried, whatever, play the RPS and win it. Like reversal DP or something, I don't know. But like, it's just, I feel like the jab as well is fuzzyable on the safe jump. So it's because you can't change the timing of the safe jump to hit any later.
Yeah.
So you can just jab at the same time every time, and if they go for the throw, you hit them. So like, I don't know. I feel like I want to stop seeing that. I just want to see people do the safe jump, because as well, if they don't parry, then you also get big drive gauge damage with that huge jump in and stuff like that. In my opinion, I don't think I'm a fan of the safe jump mind games. Like, sometimes, obviously, if you want to get that punch counter throw to like close out a game, makes sense. But when you're trying to make a comeback, you got your feng shui engine going, you just want your pressure to go, right? Yeah. So you don't want to take a risk like that.
Yeah, especially if they do have a timing for like the fuzzy jab, then it's really, I think, kind of discouraged. And to build on your point, I just feel like I don't see enough people perfect parry safe jumps to justify going for the fake as much as people have. Yeah, like you still have to time it. It's not one of those things where you can just like hold parry, and because of the wake up timing, you get perfect parry. For perfect parry, you have to time it no matter what. So it's still tough to do, and Yeah, I just don't see enough people perfect parry safe jumps to really justify as many fakes as we see.
Exactly. Like it's, and like I said, you're risking quite a lot in that situation. For example, he just got side swapped into basically immediately losing the round, off of what you can't really call a mistake really, but he just immediately lost the round because of one decision where he tried to get greedy basically, and it was unnecessary. I feel like, and yeah, all just to try and avoid being -2.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Definitely. So Shanghai definitely coming out. Hopefully we see Ajax bounce back. He did not look like the Ajax we saw against Xi'an. Just didn't, and we all have those offsets, off games. So hopefully he bounces back and we get to see him put a couple more dubs on the board here. And another player that looked great last week was PR Balrog, right? But then he ran into the monster of Kaba, bro. And man, another one where it was just Kaba on display about why he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I think this is also quite a rough matchup for Jury, and especially for like PR Balrog's like kind of Jury, where he does want to play a little bit slower and play the kind of the footsies. It is tough, I think. You don't really get a chance to store in this matchup that easily. Your dive kick doesn't really work as a way to go over projectiles. Your projectile doesn't really work. Like you actually normally against Gao, it's better to have a projectile that clashes with the boom, just so you can OD and punish him for it. Whereas in this case, it just doesn't necessarily. It's too slow. And so yeah, to get in is really difficult. And obviously against Kaba especially, like he's never going to make it easy for you.
Yeah, from what I gathered in this set, right, Kaba's anti-air is always on point. Like, a lot of times PR Balrog try to jump the booms with a hard call out. You just could never find the read on it. But besides that, I definitely think Guile is built to handle Jury in some ways, right? These low fireballs, that crouch medium kick, both can kind of get dodged by that Sobot, and he represented a lot of that Sobot a couple of times, crushing the crouch medium kick attempt from Jury. And as you mentioned, it's tough. Like once Jury gets into this range where Guile can kind of throw sonic booms, we see a lot of forward heavy kick, right? We just saw it right there. PR Balrog starts looking for that a lot. And then Kaba, I think it was a round 2 game 2, if I can go to that. He just has this clutch call out. He was like, all right, I'm tired of your forward heavy kicks, and he just neutral jumps it, and I'm like, bruh, like, oh my lord. He gets to the end of this round here. Yeah, right there, right?
There it is. Oh, I love that we have the same vision, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. This is a huge point for me as well, because against PR Balrog's version of Jury, where they do focus on using that forward heavy punch, the heavy kick as well, like, it's so good because these normals are kind of hard to deal with, but they have huge whiff recovery. But it's really hard to make them with, because look at that. The first time he tries to walk away, it doesn't work out. The second time he's like, well, all right, I'm just going to hold up.
Yeah, ridiculous stuff right there from Kaba. So once I saw that, I was like, bruh. And then multiple jumps got punished by level 3 from Kaba as well. He wasn't even just flash kicking. He was also, straight up, like I said, level 3ing. So it was just rough. It was one of those things where, like, if you're never going to get a right read on a sonic boom, whether it's drive impact or jump or anything, then, I mean, it's just not your day,
It does get, like, a drive impact, and, like, it does work out. But this is such a good bait, by the way, because, like, when you see Gar walking back, you generally think you're a little bit safer to jump back, especially at that range specifically where he jumped, where the crouch fist would whiff. So, like, he thinks he's safe, and, of course, level 3 bro, it's a back charge motion. It's not easy to do it with no buffer, but man, I mean, these guys at the highest level, I mean, they are too good at it. We see Knuckle do it later as well, and that was just super clean bait right at the end. I think like the only other thing I got to mention was like if you jump to 121.45. I think you saw it right at the end there, but like, is it here?
I just want to correct myself. Obviously, it was the heavy kick Jury was using, not forward heavy kick. My bad. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, like here, like he, like right there. Oh, but I mean, before that, he basically blocks like a negative. He's plus on block here, but he doesn't go for like a crouch strong or whatever. Like it might not reach it, to be fair, either way. And he might not even be going for it. But I feel like using slower buttons when you are plus because they did something minus is really smart. Just because like if they ever try to perfect parry, you're always safe from that.
Yes. That's I definitely think a mind game we're gonna see more and more going forward.
Yeah.
Is especially when you catch on to the player that likes to do minus frames in a perfect parry, then you're like, all right, bro, like I'm just gonna take as much advantage as I can. And I think we see drive rush a lot of the time too, like where we see
that
people,
also works.
yeah, like get the minus frames and then they'll just drive rush in, and that catches people trying to parry. You'll get the throw off or something like that. Definitely, very much looking forward to the different mind games that develop out of those situations.
A work in progress. Like I'm sure we'll see way more of that, which will be fun for summer. For whoever likes that kind of mind games, which I guess that's what fighting games are about.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, so as I said at the top, I wasn't able to catch all of SFL, so this is where like my previous viewing has ended. Okay. So I'm gonna have to lean on you a little bit with going forward here today. But Meta RD versus Banana Ken is gonna be the best of 5 set, right? And Meta also using the Luke instead of the Blanca right here. So definitely, does he remain with the Luke through the set?
Actually, the most important thing, you want to go back to where it's on the player cams, like right at the start before the game starts. Go back even further. There we go. This is the most important part of the set. This is the most important part of the set. He got the damn notebook, and you know what? You know what? If you're Meta RD and you play like Meta RD, if you've got a notebook on how players play and how to get into their heads, he's so smart for that, man. It's genius. Like, I no doubt he has a special game plan against Banana Ken, because we see it, and I think it's DI. Honestly, we see so many DIs in this set from Meta RD, and they're all like successful. That's written in that book, 100%. If I could ask him, I'd be like, does it say DI Banana Ken in that book? It probably does. We don't get to see. They cut it before we can read it. I hate it. Like, don't unleash his secrets. But it's just smart, Meta RD. He's come here to win, and he's made notes on like where you're weak and where to punish you. It's so good. I love it.
So for Capcom Cup last year, I was building player profiles for their habits, etc., right? And I sent one of the profiles just to see if I was on the right track in terms of what was I thinking and yada yada, what I was writing down to a couple of the players, and one of them was Meta RD. And Mena RD was like, bro, this is great. Like, this is yeah, good stuff right here. So I assume he does that himself, right? Especially for something like SFL, where he's going to have knowledge of the roster going into the event. Like, it's not going to be some open bracket where he might face somebody, he might not. He knows who he's going to be going up against, right? And yeah, I mean, a prepared Mena RD, even scarier than open bracket Mena RD.
Yeah. I think that's, and again, for a player who plays like his style, it's just really smart. I think it's exactly fits his style, and it works out really well in this set. I think he just looks so annoying to fight, because we see various styles of how to beat JP, and a lot of people like to be patient and then punish JP as he approaches. Mena RD, he just bulldozes his way in. He finds ways to get in. He uses DI, he jumps, he even does Avenger at some points to get in. He mixes up his timing. He'll drive rush. He'll perfect parry the tree glaive and projectiles, then drive rush behind it and get punishes and things like that. He just bulldogs his way in and just never lets go, man. This guy is this is why I think he's annoying to fight, because it feels like his style just shouldn't work against good players, but it just does.
Yeah, he really has the balance. I think he does something really well here that I've kind of highlighted when we were talking about Punk, and trying to use the strengths of the character or the player against the person, right? And right here, I feel like he's like, okay, JPs love pressing that crouch medium kick, right? Especially when they see you walk back. So what he do right here, he walks back and he's like, okay, the one weakness of this button is that it's not cancelable, right? So very susceptible to getting drive impacted. Looks for exactly that. I mean, reads Banana Ken like a book there.
Yep, literally, like I said, it's in his book. He just read it.
Yeah. Drive impact Banana Ken.
Yeah. Because I guess it works out on multiple things as well. He gets on a ghost at some point as well. I guess catches the low forward more than once for sure. Banana Cannon is playing well, honestly. There's certain rounds where and there's that perfect parry on the trigger left. So important. It's not the easiest thing to do because of how fast that projectile is. But yeah, this is just definitely all women are RD right now. But yeah, I think he just, like I said, Banana Cannon does play well. It's just there's only so much you could do. I feel like you have to like somehow keep him out, but it doesn't. He makes it look really difficult.
He does, man, and I don't know. He has great game sense as well, right? I think that's what him and Punk have that's similar. Like for whatever reason, their sixth sense just catches on to the player, their opponent's decision making. Like they're just so good at finding it out, and then they somehow get into their spacing, their spot where they want to be. They make it look easy, and it's like, how do you do that, right? Like especially against players of this caliber, you're like, how are you constantly in that space where you want to be? And it's just their knowledge, their read on the opponent, knowing where they can stretch options and kind of get away with certain things. It's immaculate stuff to watch.
And look, like right now, like watch it. He's not bulldogging his way in all the time. He doesn't want to be that obvious. So he looks like he wants to play some fair Street Fighter at a time, and then he just randomly dry rushes back in, and then the next time he's going to Avenger and things like that. And it makes it so hard to adjust to, really, because his timing, he doesn't have one. Like that's the trouble.
Yeah, that ability to switch up the pace at any given moment, to never let your opponent really catch on to your rhythm, your timings. I mean, that's, I think, a high tier quality of a lot of the best players in the world. Mena RD, Knuckle do. A lot of these players are just like, for 1 minute, their foot's all the way to the floor on the pedal, and then the next, they're chilling for a second. And it's like, how do I ever find out when it's my time? Because they let it be known that it never really is.
That's the tough part. I mean, like, it is just, there is nothing you could, like, they're just too good, basically. That's the way to put it. Because none of this is autopilot. That's the problem. When someone is playing like that, it's all cerebral. Like, they're always thinking, which is really, that's the impressive part. Is like, you can only play with no rhythm if you just never going onto autopilot, basically.
Yeah.
And every decision is conscious, which is just unreal, like, to do in fighting games.
Yeah, like that.
Obviously, not saying that every decision is conscious for them. You know, there'll be many things they'll be quite automatic, but they're so few and far between that we can barely notice them.
Yeah, it's exactly, man. The mental energy required to be so active, to make decisions so consciously as much as they do. I mean, it's otherworldly, and it really is what separates a lot of these great players from the players right below them on the tiers.
Yeah. I think that's basically it. There's not too much else to talk about.
There's no other highlights you want specifically for this match?
There's a couple. There's just two more, I think. So if you jump to like 129.20,
okay.
it's just like a micro interaction that I think is just really good for Mena RD here, who again, just so aware of all the situations at all times. Goes back to the point of just how conscious he is. He's a Luke player, but trust me, he is thinking. But yeah, like, it's like he knows something, right? Also, I love this combo. I don't know why Luke's don't do it all the time.
The one that he did right here.
Yeah, so this one, he's been into this debate, and my notes are, this combo pisses me off because no one does it. You spend one extra drive brush instead of getting that triple flash knuckle, but it's a safe jump. Like, it's a safe jump mid-screen. It's a safe jump from in the corner. It's just so good. Like, I don't see why all it does is cost one extra drive gauge, and no one does it. And it's a really good corner carry as well. I think it does slightly less damage than the other combo, but I don't know. It's just, why doesn't everyone do it all the time? It's a one drive gauge cost. Like, I don't know, man.
And this does this safe jump mid-screen too, right? Because I imagine that's the full
back
pushback
rise,
of it.
you get you have to change the jump button you press. On back rise, you do like the stand like whatever the jumps heavy kick, and then if they quick rise, you just do the stand medium kick or the jump medium kick. But it's just really strong. I don't know why people don't do it. They just do the other combo where they ends in heavy flash knuckle, which you just get a dash up, and I guess that's about it. Like, you know.
And see, to me, like, I feel like one of the things holding a lot of Luke's back that I see is the fact that a lot of the time they do that flash knuckle combo where it ends like that, and then like either they've spent so much drive meter to that point where they kind of like have to settle back into neutral and just like sandblast their way, and then maybe they lose the interaction, right? Like, it's not a clean offensive turn that they can keep going. While that combo, it definitely is. So I'm with you. I don't understand.
And just then we saw the use of the Avenger again, just mixing up his options. Like he's being creative, he's thinking, he's like, you know what, he's not ready for this one. You just do the run overhead. Like, you know, I got one of those too. It's not just Ken Masters.
Oh my lord, yeah, the drive, and they keep clipping the crouch medium kick.
Yep, and he just closes it out right here. Oh no, he doesn't. No, I forget. But yeah, here's a little desperate level 2, but it's just, yeah, you don't have the frames for that one, my guy.
Yeah. Tried it out. Meta RD too clean constantly, but yeah, man, these crouch medium kicks, and again, right, he's playing on that same spacing in the corner. He's like, I know JP wants to take his turn. Perfectly timed again. He called it out on a drive rush before into the crouch medium kick, which JP's love to do as well. Man, when he's looking like this, like we said, prepared Meta RD even more scary than regular Meta RD.
Yeah, like I said, he has a specified game plan just to make you annoyed. Like, I mean that puts a lot of respect on Banana Ken that he needs a specific, play style to be able to beat him. But that's what he's here to do, right? He's here to win, so it makes sense.
Indeed. All right, so no more highlights from that one. You're good.
That was all good.
All right.
I think that was basically everything.
We got a versus Vortex and UIU next then, right? So first up, who was it here? We had DCQ versus Dual Kevin to start this one. All right.
Yep. So this is another Luke versus JP. It's
true.
The second to last one, I think. So I think we get 3 of this matchup this week. A third of the games, Luke versus JP. But you know what? We're here for it.
Seems right,
this is a lot of different style, though. It feels like Banana Ken was trying to just keep Mena RD out the entire game. This is like Dual Kevin having to keep DCQ out. It's like the other way around. the roles have reversed because DCQ is so aggressive. Look how aggressively he's using his drive gauge. And Dual Kevin definitely is a lot more reserved than Mena RD. And yeah, he looks like he's struggling a bit to deal with the pressure because, again, no one really is expecting you to get rushed down by JP like that. But he does adjust pretty well.
That is so funny that it really is the archetypes kind of flipped in this matchup now, because yeah, DCQ is the one that's playing like Mena, right, like getting in there while he's on the JP, and Dual Kevin definitely is a much more like slow paced type Luke than Mena, which is funny because he's a Marvel player, he's a Rashid player. You would think that he's got a lot of high tempo to him, but he really likes to just out solid players on this character, especially in the first game. That was bananas too, for sure.
That was funny as hell.
Able to clip the teleport right at midair. Looked like he was doing a Tony Hawk.
Because it hits both. He's standing right in between them, and he's like, "Oh, if he teleports, it doesn't matter what side you're coming out of." Literally, he's kick flipping him.
That's very smart. That's very smart.
I like that.
We saw that last week too, right? Where Dual Kevin played against Samurai, and the advice for Du after the first game where he lost the Samurai was like, you're kind of waiting on him too much. Samurai is the one dictating everything. He's kind of the one that's just doing stuff while you're trying to see, wait, and react. So I feel like that's definitely one of Dual Kevin's tendencies in the first game, especially.
Yeah, and he definitely doesn't get much chance to play there, but he seems to adjust pretty quickly. So if you jump to like 152.40, he starts playing like this mid-range versus JP extremely well. Like I feel like, it's a meme. It's gone back and forth. Like this character's mid-range is like bad, it's good, it's good, it's bad. But I think Luke's is just unbeatable, to be fair, because of his his stand strong. You'll see it come in. Like it's just the range it goes, and trying to press anything at the certain ranges of it's so hard to like contest.
It is 100%. And just to talk about DCQ's aggressiveness, right? I really like him being aggressive on JP specifically, because I think this character, not only is he the best at like stuffing drive rush, but I think he's one of the best at using drive rush as well. Like that crouch medium punch, as good as it is at stuffing the opponent's drive rush crouch medium punch is ignorant, bro. Like it hits from so far away, just immediately puts you in a situation where JP is in a comfortable range to start his offense. It's tough.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely one of the hardest parts about fighting the characters, that he's like kind of zoner, but he also does have the rush down capabilities of that drive rush. But yeah, I think while Dual Kevin does make a good adaptation just fighting back in the mid screen, like here he doesn't get the punish, and he's still trying to find the range with that stand strong. That was really unfortunate, obviously, the down forward Fias being so minus. But yeah, there's one counter hit, gonna be the first of many coming up. And then another one to check the drive rush. And it's just such a good button, man. It's honestly insane. Only -2 on block, and obviously when someone's -2 on block, guess what you can play? You can play the perfect parry mini game if you want. It's true. And it's got enough range where you're pretty safe from pros. And there's another one. And yeah, he just finds that range really well, and it does give him the rounds. But kind of, you'll see later on as well, DCQ gets a really, really good adaptation as well, because he's like, what button? He's like trying to figure out what button do I press so I don't get counter hit by this button every time, and then he finds it towards the end.
Okay. And one thing I do want to give Dual credit for on that stand medium punch though is that even though he's a Luke player, he's pressing a medium punch that's not just crouch medium punch. You know?
Exactly. His crouch medium punch is stupid, but his stand medium one's also kind of dumb. It just doesn't drive rush cancel, so people don't complain about it.
Exactly.
It's only just hit confirmable into his TC, counter hit confirmable. It's also pretty good.
I think like the stay medium punch is kind of like fallen out of the spotlight that it had in Street Fighter V because of how good crouch medium punch is in this game, right? Like 6 frames plus 1, disjointed hitbox. Everybody just wants to press that. But stay medium punch, it's still that forward advancing quick button, like you said, -2.
Yep.
It's an incredible button in and of itself. And yeah, I'm glad that he started to use that more when he realized crouch medium punch might not get the job done in this rare instance.
He couldn't get into range, but that's right there. That's the adaptation. If you go back like a few seconds, like the stand medium kick. You see, he kind of snipes the start with that stand medium punch because he walks in that range. He's like, oh, I know what's coming. Boom. Here's an active button to stick so you walk into it with that forward advancing normal. Super smart stuff. And basically off the back of that, is able to take the rounds because level 3 from JP is a boot, man.
Look at it, and that's exactly
that's an illegal maneuver. He's kicking him in the knees. Look at this.
Take out his ACL real
damage. Quick. Literally, put him out for life.
Nah, that button is so good, man. That's what I feel like the early button that I was really like, wow, why does this stuff drive rush so well? Disjointed hitbox on that stand medium kick. It's just one of those that's gonna immediately put a wall up. So yeah, I mean, and DCQ, man, again, he doesn't also hyper focus on certain things with the characters that are strong, right? He'll use everything. And I feel like that stand medium kick doesn't get used as many of his other very prominent buttons, but is another amazing one for him to find.
He doesn't swing his cane during it, so people don't like to use it.
Exactly.
It's got a hurt box, so you know what? Let's not go for it. Yeah, but that was it. Well played by DCQ. I think the only thing I'd mention that was notable was like he did a lot of the departure teleport. And I feel like if JP ever does it and you're ready for it, you just need to get a good punish. Like it's the one time where he's leaving himself completely vulnerable to you. And obviously some characters are better than doing it than others, but it's something you should lab 100% because JP's players absolutely love trying to teleport in on you, and DCQ definitely got away with it one too many times. And even when he got punished, it was like he got jabbed out of the air, or he got jump back jabbed, or just jump back stand medium kick, jump medium kick. So yeah.
It's one of those things, right, where it's not going to discourage the opponent enough, right? You got to really come out with something that's going to make them second guess doing it. And if he's just going to get these little air hits, he's like, bruh, like the reward I'm going to get is so much outweighing the risks I'm taking. If the only risk I'm taking is getting a single air hit, then I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, especially for something that he can get, it's like a jump in, right? You got to punish them with an anti-air. But in this case, you get a lot of reward off of it. And once you take that option off the table, you get a little bit easier to be able to parry the spikes. And then that way it's easier to manage your drive gauge and such like that. But yeah, I think the next matchup is also another JP versus Ken. No, versus Luke even.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's going to be NL versus VX Bao in the building. As you mentioned, yeah, same matchup. Wow, we've seen a whole lot this week.
Yeah, just how it lined up. I guess people would like to counterpick with JP and counterpick JP with Luke, so it must be a 5-5 matchup.
I guess so, right? Yeah, like you said, the home team obviously has their opportunity. And versus Vortex has, who else do they have at the round? Sheehan and Oil King, right? Like they could also, or Oil King's on UIU, I think. Sheehan and somebody else on versus Vortex. Forgetting at the moment, but.
Oh, can't remember now.
Okay, but choosing to send NL up, right? And we've already seen this before as well. Like it just feels like both players of the characters are comfortable in this matchup. And I can understand why. I think both characters have options against the other, right? Like I think the Sandblast is a pretty decent projectile tool up against JP, but I mean, who's JP really uncomfortable against, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a great example of just why his character is so strong. He just isn't really uncomfortable against many characters, or at least very popular characters. I think he does probably struggle a little bit versus, someone like Kimberly. Apparently Cammy's annoying to fight. Some people don't like that matchup, but it's a character you don't really see too often, not gonna lie. What was that? A nice Yeah, yeah. Funny enough, the first thing in my notes in this matchup, even though we just saw it, is cool. It's just Luke crouch medium punch. That's just my note. I don't know what I meant by this, but clearly it comes up enough times. I'm like, yeah, it explains itself, you know. Also, this is the next note as well. Goodbye drive gauge. One punish counter. He had 3 bars. He lost it. Oh man! And we saw this last week as well. VX Bao is so good at attacking that drive gauge with this specific combo. He's always ready to set this one up.
Oh man,
how's that pixel perfect? How did that stab medium kick whiff, man? It hit his coat.
Rough times indeed. And yeah, the burnout, ridiculous. I like to wake up with the level 2. Obviously dodging the projectile, right? That's why he just didn't commit to the level 1. Smart. Very smart. Really, being in burnout against JP is so tough, right? So I kind of want to see how NL plays it out a bit. Obviously, showing his patience. Oh, and then again, though, the teleports, they keep getting away with it.
I feel like being burnt out against JP is very situationally dependent, though. Like, if you got the life lead and all he's doing is going to chip you out with the ghost,
yeah,
just block.
Yeah,
like just block. You'll get your drive gauge very fast because you'll be blocking moves. You'll be taking that chip damage, and it will come back extremely fast. If you're, you know, if he's got that level 2, it's game over. Like you've just lost. Sure. But I feel like against most characters, like as long as you're not in the corner and you're in burnout, like you're fine. Like obviously provided you're not going to die to the chip and you've got the life lead, so you won't be like super close to dying by the time it's over. So I think it's okay to.
It's not an end all be all bad situation for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the big thing. Oh, that was actually right there. That moment right there. If you go back a few seconds, he does the drive rush, crouch strong, and then forward dashes afterwards. Why not more people doing forward dash? Like this is Street Fighter 5, baby. This is a plus like 6 on block normal there. Yeah. Just do the forward dash afterwards. No one's ready. And if they try and perfect parry afterwards, you get the punish. Like it's something so simple, but like no one does it. Everyone does like drive rush pressure afterwards. It's like, come on, guys, it's plus. Just dash. Like people aren't gonna be pressing every time.
100%, man. It's another one of those things where it's a mind game that's going to develop more and more. And as people develop the defensive habits against it, whether it's they're willing to block more, whether they're trying to parry, right, you're going to find answers on offense. And I love that. I think dash is kind of a lost art in this game because of drive rush. So the more I see it utilized, the happier I am.
Yeah, and like funny enough, he doesn't do the drive rush to continuous pressure. He dashes instead, gets the jab like pressure, and then because he still has the 3 bars, he can drive rush afterwards and get the round with the combo. So it's just a smart way to conserve your meter and keep your pressure up without having to spend it, because you know you're +6 there, and so does your opponent, man. He's like, I think actually crouch medium punch is only +1, so it'd be +5. But your opponent knows that you're +5, so they're pretty afraid. They're not going to be pressing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Do you have any other specific moments you want to go over in this NL VX Bao set?
I guess just like kind of towards the end. NL is just super clutch here. Obviously, we kind of saw him not look too good versus, I think it was PR Balrog last week. So, but to see him today yesterday against VX Bao, and how just clutch he was, honestly. Like I think is this the round I'm thinking of? No, definitely not. If you jump to 2:02:25.
Okay, gotcha.
So I guess it'll be this round. He just makes a crazy ass comeback. Look at this. Should he win this game? Tell me, should he win this game?
Absolutely not. No, considering the situation now,
he's in burn. Anything will chip him.
Wow.
Like bro, at this point,
a full life bar.
Yep. And he only needed to get one hit here, but he finds like a hit, and now the pressure here is really hard to deal with. If JP tries to press there, but I feel like you just block here. You don't have to do anything if you're VX Bao. Why is he amnesia in there, man? Why are you amnesia in? I mean, I know why, but like he doesn't have stun. You're gonna recover before him. Why not just chill out?
Even Oil King's like, bro.
Yeah, I literally in my notes I got Oil King is funny because he's like, what the hell, guys? That was funny. How did he do that?
Like, it's the
power of burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the power of burnout. And I mean, it's just like, again, like you said, right? Why are you amnesiaing there, right? It's just a perfect moment to illustrate being the person in control in the moment versus being a third party watching from the outside, right?
I mean, from this freeze frame, look at the drive gauges. Like, he's going to recover before you. So you just have to wait. You just have to do nothing. Even if he threw you 50 times, you'd still get the drive gauge back before he could do anything. So
yeah, and you'll still have a significant life lead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, logically, when you go back and look at it, you're like, bro, like, there's no need to do anything but just block it out here. But like, that feeling
happens,
you
man.
get, that feeling you get when you're just like blocking continuously in the corner, like, it's hard. It's hard to keep your cool and just logic it out. And in that moment, yeah, he was just like, absolutely. He's not gonna stop pressing. Right? I'm in burnout, so he's just gonna press into my amnesia. Right? You start justifying things to yourself.
Yeah,
like, you know, and it just all falls apart.
And it is just that unlucky that the one moment he decides not to press is the moment he goes for the forward jump. Like
it always works out that way.
Super clutch way as well. Sets up for the meaty roundhouse. Not something you see very often, but I mean, even on block, it would have been super plus there. So it was really smart. Boom, holding up, and it's such a sick comeback. And that was basically the name of the set. Like, I think if you jump towards the last rounds, it basically goes back and forth. But I mean, my last note is like NL is just too good. No, like he's again low on health, in a position probably shouldn't win this game. And he still finds a way.
Yeah, let's see this one, because again, yeah, super significant life advantage for VX Bao. Very close to getting his drive meter back as well. Really doesn't suffer from being in burnout at all. And then Elbray is just taking it slow at first, right, throwing them.
It's painful. Another one. I thought he'd win it right here, but unfortunately, VX Bao does tech at the last moment. And yeah, it's he just played extremely well, and it was nice to see, especially after last week's not so bad. Kind of a bad drive reverse there, VX Bao. I think you can drive reverse that guaranteed, but it was just super late.
Okay.
So he did recover.
Unfortunate. That's a real heartbreaker for VX Bao then, if you can kind of get a guaranteed timing on that drive reversal. But yeah, this is we went back to when we were talking about the Chris CCH Big Bird set. We're like, if they're never going to jump the throw, then sometimes the option that you have to go with is continuing to throw them, right? And NL, I mean, that's how he brought himself back into this match. He recognized with this significant life lead, VX Bao, and with his amnesia, I think that went into it too. The context of the fact that he went into that amnesia in the last round when he didn't need to, and he took a risk unnecessarily, and it ended up, resulting in what it resulted in. Now he's like, I definitely don't want to do nothing, and he just keeps eating throw after throw.
It's literally the perfect mind games, and then I was just reading him like a book. Like, it is just a case of like, well, I made a mistake that made me lose all my health last time. Because of course, like this is like, of course, how does anyone ever get thrown 5 times in a row? Yeah. Surely you tech. But the point being is like, because you've got the life lead, you're doing like risk management. Like It's like, well, there's no point teching because I have so much life. So why would I do something that if I guess wrong, I lose all of it? Whereas if I just take the throw, I only take like 10%. But then the second throw comes and you're like, well, yeah, again, I still got the life lead. Then the third throw comes and you're like, all right, well, I'll try to do something next time. I'll try and perfect parry, and then you get thrown again, and then at that point, spirit's broken, and that's when you tech, and that's where you get shimmied, man. It's happened to me in tournaments, so I won't lie. I'm sure it's happened to everyone.
Yeah, and I think that risk management, I mean, I feel like his risk management in that instance, like we said, it was only amplified by the fact that he went into that last situation, took a risk that he just kind of logicked out, and that ended up going wrong, and then he tried to be as safe as possible here, and it just resulted in a situation where NL had the perfect read, and he made sure to make him pay. And that was great stuff. So the next match going to be a Shien versus a Knuckle Duo. Oh, snap. Okay, so this is the best of 5 set, I believe, between them as well.
Yeah, this is like I've put as maybe the set of the week for me. It was either that or the Big Bird set. But I mean, the first round we can just play it in full because it basically describes this matchup in full. I feel like this is a pretty good, it's a pretty even matchup. I think we both had good tools to deal with each other's pressure. Like heavy air slash is really good. Like right there is a perfect example of why it's good. And the OD slasher, like in the mid range, super good. It's super scary to throw booms in the mid range versus DJ, because if you've got the heavy air slash, the OD air slasher, you just get such damage out of it. It's almost not worth the risk compared to what you get if you just do an OD boom and beat his air slasher. And obviously knee shot, shortening your jump arc is also pretty good at punishing, over the top of booms. But it's hard to beat Knuckle Doom, man, when it comes to those reactions. And again, the one thing that we see this matchup, and it does work out a little bit for Xian later on. But it's just he plays the full sweep game. He does not want to play the mid range game. He's just like, I'm going to use heavy air slasher, and then I'm going to try and punish you approaching, because Gal can't really do much about heavy air slasher. Like, you can sort of throw the OD booms, but you kind of, again, it's not really worth it. So he's the one jumping in most of the time. But I feel like if you just played that mid range, it'd work out better. But Xian's the better player than me, so he knows better.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where it's interesting to me. Like, as you said, the full screen game, because of the air slasher's prominence, he wants to play it. And to kind of bully his way in, it's going to cost some type of resource, right? So I think that's kind of what Xian's thinking about, some like long-term resource victory, because NuckleDu will either have to do OD boom or he'll have to like knee forward and level 1. So at least he'll be draining him of resources. And I mean, it's kind of worked out in this instance. The drive meter, because of that OD, is in Du's favor, but he's got 3 meters to his 2. But yeah, I think that has to be coupled with what we were talking about earlier, where if you're going to play this type of passive game or this certain range for most of the match, you got to be able to turn it on its head and catch your opponent off guard and make big moments happen from a different range while lulling them into thinking that you're only going to play from this range. That was really sick, though.
That is sick. Like, actually, this is in this matchup specifically, DJ's antis are really good because Gar does not have any like big ass jump normals. Like, his heavy kick hits too horizontally and his face is too small. So like, your anti is actually really good as DJ. So again, he that's the moment where he plays the long range game really well. But at the same time, NuckleDu never had to jump there forward, so I don't know why he did it. There's a lot of like strange decisions from like both players, I think. But this is something I'd love to ask, like get a chance to ask Xian, like why he plays the matchup this way. Like, what, because he basically always, like, if you'll see it, he just defaults. Like, once they get into that close range game, he's happy to play it. But anytime we're in that mid range, he's just like, I'm gonna jump back and do heavy air slasher. Like, I'm not sure why. That's my thing. It's just how he. I mean, I get the idea. Again, he's just trying to approach the guard approach, and we saw at the end of the last round how he could do that, and it's super sick. But a lot of the time he's doing it without the life lead, and I think that's where it gets a bit weird for me.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out. We'll try to contact some people, get to his thoughts on it, because I would love to hear it myself. Always interested in the players, like straight up first person thoughts. If we can get directly from them, that's always the most satisfying thing. And then of course Du he's an assassin when it comes to seeing somebody's low on drive meter and he's got 2 bars, right? He's always looking to go into it and just drain the rest of your bar.
Not sure who did this first. I saw this first from Higuchi, so I think maybe we all started copying him. But it was that's one thing I love about Street Fighter 6, man. The first time, that's that jump medium kick, man. But the first time I saw Higuchi do that, I was like, oh, you can win like that? It was like, it's like I've unlocked a new win condition. Also, that was in my notes. He literally took his damn soul. Look at this shimmy, man.
Oh, man.
The Du special. Oh, no. Oh, you know what? We all took that.
And what a time to do it, though, bro. Like, off of a counter hit crouch medium kick in the neutral. That's when you're going to do the shimmy? Like, it's high level for that.
Yeah, that's the crazy stuff. That's pretty creative right there. I think you see that super plus on hit situation, you realize you probably can't reach for the crouch strong, so you're like, let me try and get the throw, and then at that point you're like, oh, he's also thinking about the throw, so I'm gonna go for the shimmy.
To recognize that in the moment right there, man. He's so good. So good.
It's great to see, honestly. NuckleDu in good form is like watching one of the best as well. And he is one of the best, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've heard that people have said Higuchi calls him the best guy. The NuckleDu's the best guy. So, I mean, he's got respect from everybody,
Yeah, I think. I feel like it's weird. Guile's easy and hard. Like, he's hard to play against good players, but he's really easy to play against players who just like, and certain matchups where you don't have to think, But to do performing well in tournament with him, I think it's quite difficult.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like every region has a very strong Guile, right? Like Higuchi in Japan, Akainu, ISDD in Europe. We obviously have Du and Kaba here in North America and the Dominican Republic. So like people at high level are ready for this matchup. You're never going to catch anybody off guard. And because you're just a linear character, baby, you got 2 moves. It's a lot of time dependent on the player just outplaying the opponent as solid and as strong as those 2 moves are.
it's like the better the player is, the more you have to play like footsies as Guile, and
yes,
it's
exactly.
definitely it pushes you out of your comfort zone a lot of the time. But yeah, I think if we got to score quite a few things. So another thing that makes Guile pretty good in this matchup is that having a flash kick against DJ means he just can't drive rush. So if you jump to like 2,
right there, like no, literally it just happens.
Yeah. Basically, that's. I think that might have been literally where I was going to be timestamping it, but it's just like, I mean, it's normally at this. That's an uncheckable range. Like, there's no way you get a jab out in time there.
Yeah.
So you have to hold that, but not with a flash kick. And yeah, DP motions, they're not coming out that fast. So like, it's just that's the huge benefit.
Yeah, I mean, it's legitimately. I think Justin Wong talked about it when we were on ICFC one time, but. Like Guile has access to a modern special when he's already down charger, right? It's up and a button, and you know that's a very quick reaction for stuff in drive rushes.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at what you can react to when it's one button, man. Sometimes
it is, man. It's wild.
I'd be reacting to throw animations sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, it might feel like that, but
you can feel the lightning coming out of your eyes. I can see everything, bro.
Yeah, literally.
You do feel like that.
But yeah.
So
I kind of like, if you could jump back a little bit, I do like this DI attempt from Xian. Like, when you got so little drive gauge and you're going to get burnt out anyway, it's always a good idea to just do something, you know, like, don't just lose it blocking because, you know, you could have just done something like here, if he blocks another boom, he's burnt out. So he's like, well, I'll try and time it with the boom. But again, Knuckle Dude is one of those players that he's at this highest level, so he doesn't have a rhythm, which just makes it impossible to read.
Exactly. And like, you know, and honestly, this is still okay for Xian because as you said, I mean, the burnout was coming, bro. Like him not getting burnt out in that situation is like one timeline out of a million. So because of that, he bets on the drive impact. And hey, Knuckle Dude wasn't doing anything, but at least he didn't react drive impact back, right? He definitely could have done that, killed him off, but this is still okay for Xian. Like I said, I like the bet. Obviously, Knuckle Dude, he could have responded, but he didn't, so good, comes away with one.
Yeah. The only thing I will say, obviously, like, again, when you're burnt out with the life lead, yeah, you block some booms, you'll get your drive gauge back. It's not so bad. And you got heavy air slasher, right? So it's pretty powerful. But I think this is the problem against Guile is that Guile can walk you down because he's got these slow booms, man. He's got the slow booms. So, like, unlike JP, who has to, like, aggress, like, take a risk to push you into the corner, like, Guile can do that for free if you're in burnout. And yeah, that. I had that in my notes, man. Why? I was like, what? Boom juggled? What? That's illegal. Bruh. That shouldn't happen. Why did that happen?
I don't know. It wasn't even a forced knockdown.
No, he just held up.
Like, oh my God.
He got hit up his jump, and then the heavy boom comes behind it. Perfect charging, by the way, because you can only throw a boom when another boom's off the screen. So this is like frame perfect.
Oh my God, you're right.
Wait.
And then there was literally
next frame. That is actually frame perfect double boom. What the hell? Okay.
He's
you know what? He deserved that. You know what? It shouldn't happen. It's completely stupid that he got that kill like that, but he deserved it. That's a one frame link as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, wow, bro. This guy, dude.
The thing is, I don't know if that's intentional or not. I'm going to say no, but like,
it just worked out that way.
Was hype. Yeah.
My God, there was like a point I wanted to make, and now I can't even remember it.
I gotta clip that, man. I gotta be like, yeah, that's a frame perfect boom juggle.
Oh, okay. I remember the point I was gonna make. So the thing with Xian, right, and playing this long range, heavy air slasher game with DJ, I think that takes 99% of Guiles out of their comfort zone, but Du is the rushdown Guile, right? He's like the one that has developed the offense with the character the most. So I feel like, unfortunately for Xian, it was just a bad player matchup, at least so far. I mean, he could come back and win the set. I don't know what happened, but to me, this is a bad player matchup for him if he's going to keep playing it like this.
He does. The thing is, he does come back. He goes to the 5th game. So, you know, Xian does do extremely well. I think that long range play style does sort of start paying off here.
Okay.
And then he just plays the close range really well. He normally gets the right reads on offense. And that was like sort of what he was missing before. So yeah, I think that's mainly how it comes out. And then at the end, I think Knuckle do his aggression. He just turns it up a little bit more, and he's like stops trying to play the long range game. Like, and then that's when he really kicks it up. But yeah, Shin does a really good job to bring it back after being 2-0 down. After getting hit with a double boom, like, oh my god, I'd be so tilted, bro.
He looked tilted after the match too. He was taking long breaths, sighs. He's like, bro, did I really die to a boom juggling into a boom?
Did I die like that? Like, I'm sure no one in that room had ever seen that, apart from maybe Knuckle Do.
As you mentioned, frame perfect. Like literally, as the boom hits, like he does the startup of the second boom. Like, I guess that's what chucking
that is.
Yeah, I guess that's what chucking for like 15 years he's been at it now or something like that. At least 10 does for you, but wow, that is still a rare sight even amongst the great Guile players we have.
That's the sad part about like only picking up Guile in Street Fighter 6 is like I'll never do that in my entire life, like in my lifespan, basically. Like, because I just haven't been playing Guile that long. Yeah. So I don't have 45 frames like ingrained into my skull, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. I don't wake up to the beat of 45, frames per second.
That's literally what it is, right? Like they just have an internal clock that like they know exactly when the charge time comes off, and that. Yeah. I mean, it only comes with like a freakish mind or many, many years of experience. And yeah, so dude probably has both, to be fair.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons he's the best Guile player, right?
Oh.
Is not just that. Again, we saw Kaba do this, but hey, if you're a good Guile player, you should definitely learn this. Being able to anti-air with a flash kick while walking backwards, pretty strong.
Just saying. Yeah, and on the sharp knee angle too, he had to be quick about it, and man, that dude, so strong.
But yeah, I think we can kind of cut it towards the end. I think Jin just kind of plays.
I want to see how he wins this round, and then we'll go to the last.
Yeah,
game.
go ahead.
All right, so yeah, I mean, he just was right on offense in this round.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how he gets it. I think again, that was kind of what he was missing before. Was just he was not getting the right openings. I think just managed to get a read on at least Knuckle Do's defensive habits.
Yeah.
Like here, just trying to hold up. Of course, wants to get out of the corner, expecting the throw, but yeah.
Yeah, let's hit.
Yeah, I think definitely a great set. Not gonna lie. After being 2-0 down, it's always gonna be rough against Guile, but.
Yeah, it's a war of attrition against Guile, right? So when you have to bring it back 2 games where you can't drop a single game, like every mistake is amplified. It's tough, man. You need a strong mental fortitude. And to be fair, Shien, I mean, Evo champ, right? So he's got that mental game necessary to bring it back. But dude, he's right there with him.
Yeah, exactly right. Especially love that little trade combo as well. Just very aware. But yeah, still, again, I'd love to see some more ODS slashes right at that range. Right at that range is where it perfectly goes through the boom, punish the boom. Like you can't do it on reaction because it's not fast enough.
Yeah.
But on a guess, on a timing, you're spending 2 bars. It can be expensive, but it's always worth that risk because again, the reward you get is so big.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's bananas, man. The damage he gets off of a situation like that is just out of control. And wow, he actually would have set point too on Knuckle Do. That's very impressive.
It always feels bad when you come back. Imagine coming back from 2-0 down, get onto set point, and then all kind of goes downhill.
Oh man, yeah, it hurts. It hurts for sure. And I don't know if it was just like, dude, it's the thing, right? Though that your back was against the wall, you had no more games to drop, and now Dude's in that position, right? Now you've activated that in the opponent, and I mean, Dude's one of the scariest people to be in that position.
As well, the whiff punch from the fizz was super clutch. Of course, it whiffs off your crouching if you're far enough away. So it's just it's something to be aware of. Like when you're at the spacing, it's just a crouch, right? And be ready for when it whiffs. Like again, that's one of those things where if they're gonna press fierce, like, and you see something whiff over your head, just get ready to press a button because it's already missed.
Yeah, that's what it really takes for a high-level whiff punishing to be successful, is you recognizing the ranges and then like recognizing the most likely scenarios to happen and kind of believing in them to happen, right? Like you see an animation and then you just do what you have already programmed yourself to do.
Yeah, you kind of have faith in your opponent. They're good at the game.
Yeah,
like
you
trust them that they know their spacing, so that when they go for their button, you know that what they've already pressed before they've even pressed it.
Yeah,
it's kind of that's why it's kind of harder to like do that sort of game plan versus like in the mid level against players who aren't quite as good.
100%. Like, oh, and then he just throws the baby booms out, recovers quickly. So smart.
Yeah, the baby booms are actually one of the most powerful things. Like, well, obviously about the level 2 is the only thing it gets, but but like
I get what you mean.
you basically get to throw boobs and hold your down charge, and obviously it recovers really fast. So it's in that situation where you're so close to getting burned out, and all it takes is one boom, and you can't jump because he's always gonna have flash kick. It's lights out.
Man, all right, that was some good stuff, bro. I like it. Dude, able to clutch out that last game for UIU. Oh, do we have one more match actually? Oh, it is the head-to-head.
It's the tiebreaker, basically.
Dude, oh, nice. I thought it was over, but we got Oil King and Zen. Jen, excuse me. And I think this is the first time we see Oil King, right? Oil King didn't play last week, if I recall correctly.
Did he? I thought he played Rashid. Oh, maybe you're right, actually.
I feel like
I thought he played Rashid, but
I don't remember.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think he played last week. I can't remember because, Oil King's on versus Vortex. Yeah, okay, I was confused for a second because I know Jen played in a best of one, but I was tripping. So I do not believe Oil King played last week.
Oh,
so
he did not. Yeah, he would not have. Yep. And surprisingly not on the Rashid, right? Obviously we just saw him win the Singapore premiere this weekend. So. But maybe something about the matchup, I'm not sure. I would have thought it would be fine matchup for Rashid, but I guess maybe DJ's like air slash is hard to deal with.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. I mean, the jump ins, maybe stand heavy kick is good against some of these awkward angles that Rashid's like to be at. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
imagine trying to anti-air the knee shot.
Yeah, that's another one.
Rashid.
Yeah,
good luck.
Yeah, you have to be so preemptive with that anti-air. It's like, bro, you're not gonna be able to react in time to how quick that knee drop comes.
Yep.
But maybe the modern Rashid, if you want to take that route. But obviously, Oil King is playing the
I feel like, is there much of a difference to doing a quarter circle motion than a one button? It can't be that much different.
So,
right?
According to Richard Wynn came in and he said you get 5 frames. He said like he legit like reacts with the Rashid DP specifically. He feels like it's 5 frames earlier in modern than classic.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, went for the fraudulent perfect parry on the minus frames. I feel like people are a lot better at reading that now, and they're getting the punish with the throws. I think Oil King takes that to his advantage for sure.
Yeah, I just love the fact that that's an option because I mean that means the players are going to be going for that, and then the person's going to be pressing a button and then hit them because they thought the parry was coming, and the mind games are just going to be infinite.
I think if you jump back, I think it's a 226-10. It's just a quick thing, but I don't know. I think it's just funny. Is that he does a whiff punish on hit, so like he gets the hit and then he whiff punishes. Like I don't know what's going through Oil King's mind, but it freaking works. Like here, like what? why did he land the hit and then knew that Zen was gonna what? That is like next level, bro. What? Because he 100% expecting that. Like he was like, oh, if I miss my hit confirm, oh, he's gonna whiff here.
So I think it's a disease that Ken players have. I think because as a Ken player myself, I've done it. And remember, we saw this in Chris T versus Nephew last week, where Chris T in one of the closing moments of the set, he hit the crouch medium kick, didn't confirm it, did crouch medium kick again, and got drive impacted. Remember, like so this is that was a situation where he did another crouch medium kick, but it was drive impacted by Nephew. This time just works cleanly against Jen, but something to keep in mind for sure, man. Maybe have that DI on the ready if you see a crouch medium kick hit.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what Zen was looking for. Maybe it was DI because maybe I don't know. Maybe he just hit the fierce button. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say when it comes to these head-to-head matches. I won't lie, and apart from funny situations like that, because I mean, if we watch this game, like Zen's playing like his first to one, man. Like,
yes. Like, I feel like that's most of the
wake-up flash kicks he does and things like that. Like, oh, he's playing like his first to one,
and that's what we saw against him and Flash last week too in the best of one. Right? Like they were just waking up with OD reversal. Yeah, like land and fly. It's best of one. Let's do it. I'm gonna take your quarter. But yeah, man, it's fun though because I think a lot of players do play like that.
He did wake up flash kick it to wake up level 2. Yep.
And hey, if one's gonna whiff, better it be the flash kick because he gets the side switch with the level 2. And then be Oil King right back at him, right? Just popping off with the OD reversals. I love that these players are scrapping.
Like, he kills there 100%.
He definitely
right,
could have
where
killed.
He just gets the back throw. The funny thing, I had a point that I was going to mention on one of the sets, but I didn't bring it up. And basically, it's when someone gets perfect parried in the corner and they don't take the back throw, they just do a combo and it puts them mid screen. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, but I see that happen so many times. I'm like, am I missing something? I was literally going to ask you, Ringe, am I losing my mind? Like, surely you just back throw them every time. Like, why are people go unless it kills, and then you don't do the back throw in that one specific situation? Surely you just do the combo.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm like, I don't know. That was one thing that tilts me sometimes. Like, because I see it too often. I'm like, why? You know? Just get the back throw. It does like just as much damage as the combo. Same drive gauge damage, and like you get the corner positioning. Surely that's way better. But I don't know. I'm not pro. So
I mean, most of the time, it's definitely going to be better, 100%. Like you said, like in that instance, he had 2 bars on deck. Even with the heavy scaling from the perfect parry, he could have killed. But it's one of those things where at least Oil King's kind of training himself to do that, right? I think that's where you see the muscle memory kind of just take over. High pressure, best of one situation. He was just like, I'm going to back throw. This is what I know, what I'm comfortable with after the perfect parry. But yeah, man, good stuff to still clutch it out after that, even leaving some damage on the table.
Being left as that face the head-to-head player, not successful yet. 2 losses under his belt, unfortunate, but
yeah, we'll see.
It's tough. I mean, it's first to 1 is tough, man.
Hey, for real.
People think first to 2 is bad.
I mean, best of 1, especially when people aren't playing, when they know it's a best of 1, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we get to see him in a full set here soon. Jen, I think he's got great adaptations and player reads and whatnot, being able to catch on to habits. So he doesn't really get to show that off in best of 1 scenario. So hopefully we get him in a best of 3 or a best of 5 here soon. But yeah, another great episode of SFL US episode 2. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these players, it feels like they're a lot more comfortable than they were in week 1. I feel like way less execution errors that we saw this week. Everybody is starting to look like themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like all the like counter picks they did as well. That was the thing from last week where it was like, that seems like a bad pick there. But no, this week it was mostly all pretty good. So I think people probably got used to a bit more to the format, a bit more to like the environment, and yeah, just generally high level play, I think.
All right, my man. Well, thank you once again for joining me. Again, I'll be more prepared next time. Didn't manage my time.
It's okay. It happens, man.
Super well. So next week we'll have more. I'll have more points. Thank you for carrying me this week, Lazarus. I always enjoy talking to you about this stuff. Can't wait to do it again next week. Thank you for everybody that's been checking these videos out. Let everybody know what's good. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll see you soon.